What is going on, football fans? Back at it with another New York Giants video. Hope everybody's enjoying their holiday. I'll probably have another video up later tonight because from what I heard, the New York Giants are going to announce their captains today. As a matter of fact, it's already been selected. It just hasn't come out to the public yet. So when that does happen, I'll try to have a video up as quickly as I possibly can. Kind of talking about the players that they named. A lot of us are hoping for Daniel Jones. I know I am. I'd like to see the quarterback get more responsibility, take that leadership role. I think he's done a great job this offseason in doing that, so I'd like to see him get the badge. But I want to talk about a couple of things that have come out so far today regarding the New York Giants. Some of it talking about the roster, who's going to be starting where, how, some places it's still a question mark. But we're going to start with Deandre Baker. And, this is a sad story, guys. There's no other way to, paint this picture. Deandre Baker, former first-round pick out of Georgia, a guy we traded up for, and a guy that a lot of New York Giants fans had very high expectations going into last offseason. He was the first cornerback drafted off the board, didn't surrender a touchdown his last 2 years in college well at Georgia, and was a great talent in college, and a guy that didn't seem to have his head on straight with the New York Giants. We know all the stories by now, sleeping in meetings, not knowing the playbook, so on and so forth, but he was a guy that I thought could really, with a stricter coach this year, I really thought he'd have his head on straight, and we were going to get the full potential out of him. Unfortunately, we all know what's happened at this point in time, and we don't know whether he's guilty or innocent. I want to continue to reiterate that. But what I can tell you right now, the New York Giants gave away his number. He will not be a New York Giants this season. It has come out that the New York Giants have decided to move on. He was on the exempt list. Why they waited this long, I would think it has something maybe to do with the salary cap. I'm not 100% sure. But I think we all expected DeAndre Baker to be off the football team at this point. When we heard all the details that came out about DeAndre Baker and the football team, I think we all knew that the Giants were probably going to wipe their hands clean at some point in time, especially after you started hearing Mara talk about it and obviously Judge talk about it in the manner in which they did. And, like I said, it's a sad story. I wish him nothing but the best. I hope he's innocent. I hope he gets another opportunity to showcase his talents, and maybe he will. Maybe he'll be proven innocent, but I don't think he's going to be a New York Giant. Don't expect it. So, bad news there. Wasted first-round draft pick by the New York Giants. Not something that we could have expected as a fan base or Dave Gettleman could have expected when he drafted him, but there were pre-draft red flags, so I get that part of it. The other things I want to talk about is the roster as a whole, the center position, the cornerback position, and the injury update with Golden Tate. We'll start there. We'll talk about Golden Tate and the wide receiver core as a whole. A lot of New York Giants fans are upset about the fact that the New York Giants have only rostered 5 wide receivers. Traditionally, you go with 6, possibly even 7. I thought it was possible. I thought they'd go with 6, but they had all these guys from the practice squad. I thought it was possible they'd go with 7. I definitely thought they'd go with at least 6. Now, I understand going with 4 tight ends, particularly this week against the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think the Giants are going to come out with a lot of 2 tight end sets, a lot of I formation, a lot of base personnel, where they're going to try to establish the run against this football team. And I'll get into further detail into the statistics and everything else when I do my New York Giants weekly preview video in a game I can't wait for. Okay, guys, we are 7 days away from the first game of the year. But if the Giants are going to win that game, they're going to run the football, and they're going to run it effectively. So I completely understand going with 4 tight ends because I expect them to have 2 tight ends out there a lot. Don't expect them to be throwing the ball a lot, 2 wide receiver sets, but you need at least 5 wide receivers on your roster. And if Golden Tate is out, which hopefully he's not, Golden Tate last year for the New York Giants was very good. I don't think he gets enough credit for how well he played with Daniel Jones. They had good chemistry. Remember the great catch against the Patriots. But Tate was a good receiver for the New York Giants last year, and he's a veteran. He's a guy that would play on the outside. If he is out, well, expect for C.J. Board to get some opportunities along with a bunch of the Ratley probably, and I would think maybe we'd call somebody up from the practice squad. So we'll have to wait and see if Golden Tate is ready to go. Hopefully he is, but that would be a major hit for the New York Giants offense if he is not. We need to be hitting on all cylinders going into that Steelers game, and we need to be able to establish that run. Want to talk about the center position briefly, and then I'm going to jump into some of the things that Joe Judge had to say about the cornerback spot for the football team. Joe Judge was asked at this point in time, who is the starting center? Because right now it hasn't been announced. We don't know the starting depth chart. A lot of us are assuming, myself included, that Nick Gates will be the starter based on the things that we've heard in training camp, how well he's played. You've heard Mark Colombo, but they could just be saying encouraging things for a younger player learning a new position. Pulley, of course, has the experience, and he may very well get that opening day nod. I'm still leaning Nick Gates, but we'll see how it all plays out. When asked about it, to paraphrase a bit, Joe Judge basically said they've been battling it out. They've been playing good. We don't have an answer yet, but we should have it within the next couple of days. That's basically what he said. So we don't know the starting center yet. And the other thing that we don't know, the biggest question mark is who is going to replace DeAndre Baker. the second cornerback on the outside. Of course, we've got the veteran James Bradbury, our biggest offseason acquisition. But opposite him, we don't have the answer right now. We just don't. We don't know who's going to be starting, and neither does Joe Judge when you read the quotes. Of course, we brought in Logan Ryan. Logan Ryan, I think a lot of us think, is best suited in the slot. We also have Darnay Holmes, who may be playing that position, and Ryan has expressed he would like to play the safety spot. The Giants have been playing Julian Love exclusively at the safety position, and when asked about it, Joe Judge didn't even bring up Julian Love as the second cornerback. So I don't expect to see him there, and I expect to see a lot of 3 safety sets with the New York Giants. I've said this entire offseason, and I think that's how they're going to use Logan Ryan. I think Darnay Holmes is going to get an opportunity to play in that slot, but we'll see. We'll have to wait and see it. There's going to be a lot of different looks with this Patrick Graham-led defense, and that's basically what Joe Judge said when asked about the New York Giants' second cornerback position. Of course, we made a trade. We gave up a 7th-round pick to bring in Isaac Yiadom, who's started in this league, which is more than you could say about the other guys that are competing for this spot. Well, Corey Valentine has started, but not really on the outside. And I think those are the 2 guys that right now are the favorites to be playing on that second cornerback spot. But let me jump into some of the things that Joe Judge had to say. I'm just going to read them right here off the laptop. Right now, we're looking to play as many of our players as possible at those positions when talking about the cornerback spot. Of course, James Bradbury is going to be the primary starter. Keep them fresh and rotate, head coach Joe Judge told reporters on Sunday. One thing we haven't had yet is a preseason game or a regular season game yet, obviously, which is a fair point to bring up. A lot of times you sort that out with the preseason games. They get accustomed to playing. We're going to make sure we use all of our guys, roll them on through, and we'll see who performs the best. So he's almost using this first game as a tryout, and I recognize that this isn't a normal offseason. Like I said, you haven't had the preseason games, but that's a little concerning to me that you don't have a definitive starter going into the year. So we'll see. And, of course, maybe he's talking about practice, but it doesn't sound like it there. And we'll see who performs best. Whoever the hot hand is who we may go with, but we're going to make sure we keep rolling them on through and building the experience of the group as a whole. So expect to see all these guys getting a lot of looks at that second cornerback spot, at least to start the year, while the New York Giants sort it out and find out who could potentially play opposite Bradbury. Then he went on to talk specifically about Isaac Yiadom. We like the way he plays on the line of scrimmage and expect the New York Giants to be in a lot of press coverage. That's what this defense calls for. And I think that's a major reason why they brought him in. They thought that he fit the scheme well. He has some experience within the league. That goes a little bit of ways, but it's our job as coaches to get him caught up to the system as fast as possible, Judge added. There won't be much carryover necessarily from the other system, but we try to keep as many of the techniques similar for him so we can carry over as fast as possible. But we like the energy and effort he plays with. We like the physicality he shows on the line of scrimmage. And obviously, this is a guy that we remember when he came out of college not too long ago in the draft. We've known about this guy in the league for a while. So those were some of the quotes there on Isaac Yiadom coming to the New York Giants. Right now, if I had to guess, I would say that he is the favorite to replace Deandre Baker on that second cornerback spot. But your guess is as good as mine. Valentine could certainly be involved in that. And if you listen to Judge, it sounds like they're going to do a lot of mixing and matching, which really shouldn't surprise anybody. And if you look at Patrick Graham last year, he used a lot of different players in his different personnel. So going into week 1, right now, we don't know our starting center. We don't know if Golden Tate's going to play. And we don't know our second cornerback. And hopefully we get these answers before game time. But if I had to guess, I think Gates will be the center. I think Yiadom will get the majority of the playing time at the second cornerback spot. And I don't know if Golden Tate's going to play or not. Let's just keep our fingers crossed. But hopefully I have another video up for you guys later today talking about the captains. And as always, if you liked what you watched, please subscribe. Drop a comment. Maybe give me a little thumbs up. Cheers.